Hello YouTube viewers, Dennis here with MarksvilleandMe.com. Today we're going to be doing a couple of things today for you. Hope you enjoy. We're going to be doing, we're going to be slicing up some chicken, getting it ready for some meals that we're having later on in the month, and we're also going to be pounding some chicken today. Pounding chicken, sometimes people call it flattening chicken, however you call it. We call it pounding chicken here at Marksville. But here you see I got some chicken I got to go through. We got a good deal on some chicken at our local store today, and figure we're gonna, instead of just throwing it in the freezer so it freezes in one solid chunk, we're gonna prepare it so that way it makes our meals a little bit easier to prepare later on during the weeks and months to come. What we're going to do first is, obviously you want to, wash your hands, make sure your work area is all clean, especially with chicken, because you want to avoid any problems that might arise from diseases like salmonella and stuff like that. So you want to, take cautions to make sure your work area is nice and clean, your hands are clean, your utensils and stuff like that. There are a few utensils you want to have. You want to have a couple of good sharp knives. To pound your chicken, you want to have a good mallet. This one has a tenderizing end and a flat end. We're going to use the flat end because obviously we don't want to pound through our plastic when we do pound it and poke holes through it and have the chicken juices and stuff shooting out through there and just making a mess. So we're going to need that. You're going to need a couple different size like Ziploc packages. I got some quart size ones and gallon size ones. You may also, this is kind of optional, you may also want to have some wax paper, pre-cut piece here. And obviously you need a cutting board. You want to definitely have a cutting board. Unless you have like a marble countertop that you do and prepare your food on, you definitely want to have a cutting board because you don't want to destroy your table. You have a table that's really nice, you want to make sure you keep the life of your table lasting. And the best way to do that is to use a cutting board. And I have this cutting board here, real nice lighthouse design on it. It's been in the family for years. It is very old, but it is a nice glass cutting board, and it's one that we like here at Marksville. It's got a nice I guess you call it a porous finish on it that really it aids with cutting up our meats and stuff like that on it. So it's really nice, and it's just something I continue to use over and over again. So without further ado, I'm gonna chop up some of this chicken into chunks so that way it's ready for some stir fries that we have periodically. Sometimes we have some Asian or Chinese dishes that we make. And they commonly use like small chunks of chicken. So real simple, I'm just going to start with the first piece of meat here. You might want to just inspect each piece of meat because even though these ones are boneless, you might want to make sure that all the bones are taken out, especially at the tips and joints where the joints of the breasts are, to make sure you're not accidentally cutting a little piece of bone in there to avoid further thing. And sometimes you might even want to trim off a little excess fat. You can use that for stocks that you might be making, or whatever you might want to give it to your pet. It's totally up to you. Well, what I usually do is I'll start with the front of my chicken where it tapers down to a point, and I'll hold my knife at an angle and I just slowly come through. And sometimes where you have a little seam, like where there is a little bit of fat, it's a little more little harder to cut through. But just take your time. Don't cut your fingers. And I kind of hold the meat firmly so that way when I'm putting my knife into it, it cuts right into it, and I bring it through at an angle. And depending on the size of the chunks you want of your chicken, you're going to want to cross cut them and then cut them again the other way to make them a little bit smaller. Most of our Chinese dishes, we wouldn't use a piece this big, so what we do is we cut it this way too. So then now you got a nice bite-sized piece. Or it's a little bit bigger than bite-sized, but I mean it's all choice up to you really, how big you want to have your chicken pieces. Some people want to make natural chicken nuggets, and this is a great way to make them, doing it like this, because you can take these, you can bread them up, put them in a baggie, shake them up with whatever your favorite mixture is to make natural chicken nuggets instead of the stuff that you typically see at your local fast food place. So this is definitely a more healthy alternative for chicken nuggets than what you'd get at those places. When you get down to the end of your breast, you want to make sure you beware of your fingers and hold it, because the chicken is slippery. And now it's working against me here. Get in there. I want to try to keep it even. So once you got it all cut up, then I'm gonna double them up so I can cut sideways to make these chunks. These pieces are a little bit bigger, so I'm going to cut those into 3 sections. The nice thing that's good about this, and it's a real time saver, is when you're done cutting this up and you're putting it away in a baggie to be used later on during, you know, your weeks and months ahead, you can season them. I find on chickens, there's lemon pepper chicken seasonings out there, like seasoning salts and stuff like that. They're real good on the chickens. And now's a good time to put that on there, because you can take the chicken, put it in your baggie, sprinkle the seasoning right into the baggie, shake it up, and it helps coat everything in there. And all the flavors will help really penetrate into the chicken, so that way when you're cooking it, it's not just falling off and going onto your grill pan. And you know, it really helps keep the flavor into your chicken. So for this one, I'm going to just use a quart-sized bag. I like to blow into the bag. It helps kind of open the bag up instead of sticking my hand down in it. And then we're just going to load the chicken up into the baggie. I happen to have baggies here that have little strips on them that you can write the dates on them. That is nice if you do store or freeze a lot of foods, so that way you know you're using the oldest first to maintain your food stock surplus, so that way you make sure you're using the oldest product first, so that way you're constantly keeping your stock rotated. What I'd like to do is I'd like to make sure it's down in the bottom of the bag, and then I'll open the zip a little bit, and then I kind of fold it over and give it a flatten and zip it over to kind of get the majority of the air out of there. And you can put it in your freezer, like this. I mean, however, you're going to put it in your freezer, however works for you, for the amount of space you have in your freezer. But that's pretty much it right there for slicing up chicken into chunks. As I said, it's good for Asian dishes, some stir fries, whatever, chicken fajitas. You could even, if you wanted to, you could even make like a chicken and egg omelet in the morning. I mean, it seems a little redundant having that much chicken in your omelets, but whatever works for you. I'm hoping this time-saving tip will help you. And let's move on to some pounded chicken. The problem with pounded chicken, let me just put this in my refuse bowl. The problem with pounded chicken is, I said before, I really like this glass cutting board, and it has been in the family for years. But the last thing you want to do is use your mallet on a glass cutting board. It just doesn't work very well. So what we're going to do today is we're going to set this glass cutting board aside, and we're going to use this awesome product we have from Natural Living. It's a Natural Living bamboo cutting board, which is 15 inches by 9.5 by 0.7 inches thick. And like I said, it is natural, bamboo cutting board. Excuse me. And you see the nice design on it. It's like really thin pieces of wood all compressed together. I'm not sure what they use to hold it all together, but it is all natural ingredients and stuff like that, and it does have a really nice smooth finish. It is a really nice cutting board, and I like to use a cutting board like this whenever I pound my chicken to help further protect my table, as well as an alternative to pounding up the countertop. Most people wouldn't think of using a cutting board to pound your chicken. It's a cutting board. That's people use it to cut their stuff on. But I like to pound my chicken on this because it is a nice flat surface, and it still further protects my table from damage. So real simply, to pound your chicken, and you may use more than one bag. Sometimes holes will come into your bag from pounding it. It depends on how the edges of the mallet, how I'm striking onto it. That's going to dictate whether or not I'm going to have to take the product that's in here and transfer it to another bag. And that's also where the wax paper comes in, because depending on the amount that you're going to store into a bag, you may want to put some chicken on the wax paper, fold it over, put more chicken on it, fold the paper back over again, and kind of layer it. And that makes it easier when you take it out to be used for whatever meal plan that you have prepared. So that way it thaws and breaks apart a little bit easier. It's not just one solid mass of chicken meat. So real simply, you're just going to want to open your bag, put a little gap in there. You're going to want to take a chicken breast, throw it right into the bag. Now the trick with this is you don't want to seal the bag, because you don't want to create an air pocket that when you're hitting it, it's gonna force that air pocket to explode and rupture the bag. So once you got your chicken in the bag, I'm just trying to flatten it out on there real good, and then you're just going to pound it. You don't want to be over greedy with pounding it. Kind of work it around a little bit. And pounding your chicken is something that you're going to want to, pound it to a desired thickness for you. Sometimes we pound it so it's almost transparent. I find that the thinner it is, the more it has the appearance when you're like, if you coat it and you're serving it to the kids, you get a lot more chicken out of it because more of it's being coated. And it seems like that half a pound or pound of chicken seems like you get more of a yield in the long run and could feed more of the family because it's got the coating around it, and it's just more overall. See there, we started out with the breast being right about down here, and now we see we have almost a full Ziploc bag full of the chicken. So, as I was saying, if you're going to do several of these, what you're going to want to do is use another Ziploc, and you're going to take your chicken, and you're going to want to kind of pull it out. I mean, this one I didn't get no holes in the bag, so I'll reuse this for the next one. I'm going to pull it out of the bag. Got that right down in that corner there. I'm going to lay it on the wax paper. Kind of get it to the end here. And I'm going to fold it over. And then I'm going to do another one. And I'm going to put it on top of that. And then once I'm done, then I'm going to slip it into my Ziploc baggie, close it up, label it, put it in my freezer, and I'm going to be set to go. One other thing I wanted to show you about flattening chicken, I'm just going to set this aside. I'll finish that up later. I don't want to make you watch the whole thing. But one other way that you can pound chicken that a lot of people don't realize is sometimes you get a piece like this mammoth here. As you see, that's a really big piece of breast. And to deal with it, what you want to do is you want to kind of fillet it before you put it into a baggie to pound it, to kind of get it thin to begin with. So you're just going to take that. I kind of look for the spot where it's the thickest, and I kind of, in my mind, divide it up in half, and just kind of hold it firmly, and just gently come through with your knife while holding it to kind of butterfly it. Go. And you see, we got a nice butterfly to it. So now when we pound it, I mean, this breast, because it's a good sized breast, it's really going to fill this bag right up, and it's probably going to maximize it so that I don't need to put anything else in it. It'll be, one solid breast in here. So I'm going to put it in there whole, and then once inside, I'm going to flip it back open, kind of spread it out in there. So now we got another breast in there. Just wipe my handle off so I don't slip on that. And we're going to start pounding again. And there you go. You see we got it all nice and flattened out. Nice big breast. We're going to transfer this into another baggie. So that way we're all set for another meal plan. Try to not get your chicken on the outside of your bag. Try to reshape it inside of this one. I'm going to flatten this out. Try to get that air out of here, so I'll kind of roll it out, zip it up. And you see we have the chicken. You kind of move it around once it's sealed up, so that way nothing's falling out. I see this one here, I can put it in there. That's roughly the same size as my other one. So when I put it in my freezer, it's taking up an even amount of space. It's nice and compact, and it doesn't take up much space in the freezer, and keeps it nice and tight and organized. One thing is, once your chicken or other meats freeze in the freezer, they have a tendency to not stack really good. So you want to make sure you get them in their containers right the first time so that they're nice and even, so they stack for future reference. If you have to rearrange your freezer a little bit, you can do that, and you know, it'll help keep your freezer nice and organized. I hope these tips help out with time saving to help prepare your meals in the future, as well as give you some great ideas and options for a different use for a cutting board, especially one like this Natural Living cutting board. It's a really nice cutting board. It works really well. You just clean it in the sink with soap and water, let it dry. You don't want to submerge it for a long period of time because it is wood. Like any wood product, it'll soak up the wood, and then it's going to warp and bend and stuff like that. You don't want that, so you just want to give it a quick wipe off with soap and water, and it's good to go. It's got a real nice handle on it, so you can hang it on a hook if you have a hook for your cutting boards or other utensils. You can slip it away in a drawer. We have a spot that we use alongside of our microwave here at Marksville where we just put a couple of our cutting boards. It works real well and easy, and plus it's all natural, made of bamboo, so it's really nice. If you have any comments about this video, don't hesitate to put them in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I thank you for stopping by at MarksvilleandMe. I got a bunch more chicken here to do. I thank you for stopping by, and you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.